Hey, welcome back. I'm Mark, and this is 20-minute meals with Mark. So we're going to try to get this in for you for under 20 minutes. Today we're going to do sous vide salmon, sous vide broccoli, and a little rice dish that I got a little creative one day when I got tired of just white rice. So the salmon, we'll post pictures of that, but salmon comes from Alaska. Do some salmon fishing with some buddies and some family every year, and we get to enjoy the fruits of our labor. So we're going to share that with you guys today. So to start with, we're going to brine the salmon. I use kosher salt, a quarter cup of kosher salt, and a non-conductive or non-reactive bowl. So it's really important that you don't use a metal bowl because it will impart some of that metal flavor into your fish, and that just doesn't get it for me. So what I do is it's a quarter cup for half a gallon, so there's not quite 2 quarts in there because we're going to put some ice in it. But if you don't have a whisk, you can use a fork. Just get it incorporated, turn fresh water into salt water. If you are a water snob, my wife thinks I'm a water snob, using filtered water does make a difference because whatever you're using for the brine will impart a little flavor on the fish, but the reason you brine the fish is to pull some of the moisture out of it, believe it or not. We're sous videing, again, we're sous videing the salmon today because it's the way we want to cook it. We're going to finish it on a cast iron skillet, and we're going to cook it to about a medium rare, and we're only cooking in the cast iron skillet to finish the skin. If you don't want to eat the skin, you don't need to finish it in the skillet. It's not really required. And what it does when we're all done, when you take your fork and get a piece of that salmon, it turns into salmon butter once you put it in your mouth. It's just amazing. So I got most of the salt dissolved into the water. I'm going to pour in the ice. Salmon's been rinsed. Nice pieces of salmon here. Beautiful skin. You can tell that it's hand caught by a couple of hacks did some of the fish cleaning. So we'll get there. My daughter will appreciate me giving her a call out there. The key is get the fish submerged, and that's a 30-minute deal. So we're going to let that sit for 30 minutes. Now we're going to prep the rice. I'm using an Instant Pot. But you can use a standard rice cooker. Again, I got 2 cups of rice, so we're going to use 2 cups of water. Okay, we pour our 2 cups of water in. And I use just a standard onion soup mix. This is generic, but you can use the Lipton if you want. I'm cheap. So that gets poured in. Then I also got 1 tablespoon of chicken bouillon that you can buy Knorr. I buy it a big jug at a time. So we dump that in. We take our whisk. And we get it good mixed up. Dump in our 2 cups of rice. The beauty of the Instant Pot is its simplicity. You put everything in, you close the lid, you push a button, and it beeps at you when it's done. So I like using it because I like simple. So next we're going to prep the broccoli. Broccoli recipe is pretty simple, right? We're going to clean the stalks off, and we're going to put it in some vacuum seal bags, and then like I said, we're going to sous vide it. The key is make sure you don't have pieces that are too big that makes it difficult for you to get them in the bag and keep them flat. So when I'm cutting as close to where it starts to branch off. There's going to be some that say, oh, you're wasting broccoli, and yeah, maybe I am, but it just cooks a little better, and you have less risk of getting that stringy piece of stalk in your broccoli that will keep your 16-year-olds from eating it like mine. Okay, so we got our vacuum seal bag here. We're gonna put the broccoli in. For years and years and years, what I would do is I'd use another bowl and season everything in that bowl. And I realized I don't have to dirty up the bowl and make my wife angry. I can put it all in one bag, season it in that bag, and then flatten it out, and you're good to go. So what I'm going to use today is some Old Bay seasoning, just standard Old Bay. You buy it on the shelf, but be generous. All right, I'm going to add some olive oil. It says about 1/8 of a cup. I just eyeball it. And we're also going to use one slice of lemon. Right, I cut it in half, and I actually just use the middle. We don't want the pith. That becomes bitter. And it's not a real thick slice, not a whole lot of lemon. It's just enough to give it that flavor. So we shake that up. Get the seasoning and everything incorporated. Now this will the moisture will come out of it as it's cooking. So those flavors will incorporate while it's in the sous vide. We're cooking it at 180 degrees today. And again, the idea, what we need to do to make this cook evenly is to get it as flat as possible. I may have overestimated my broccoli and underestimated my bag, but that's okay, we'll make it work today. Okay, we got that. We're gonna save that for later. That's a 12-minute cook at 180 degrees. So we get the water heating back up. Okay, so we brined our salmon. I pat them dry. You can use paper towel. You can use a cloth towel if you want to, but I use paper towel. It works. Just don't leave any behind. Pat it dry. This is a time where some folks will actually debone, take the pin bones out. Just for the sake of time, we're not going to take those out today. It does make the eating experience a little bit better, but the guys I'm feeding don't seem to mind, so we're going to just skip that step today. Okay, this is also the time where you're going to see things that need to be trimmed off. Like I have some belly skin here. Again, we might have got a little sloppy in our cleaning when we were cleaning the fish. On pieces on the backbone, on the top, I like to just find that little groove and take that off. Just makes it a little bit easier, a little bit more pleasant to plate. Yeah, I waste a little bit of salmon, but it sure looks nice. Now, if you're buying salmon from the grocery store, you can do this recipe with steaks. Be very careful with the bags that you use because the steaks actually have the spine and the center bone in them, and they will puncture a bag with a good vacuum sealer, even not a good vacuum sealer. You just got to be careful. If you buy like the salmon fillets, you can do the same thing. You can use a pair of tweezers to pull those pin bones. The closer you get to the tail, the fewer bones there are, and the last on a fillet about so big, the last 4 or 5 inches won't have any of those pin bones in them anyways. So now that we have everything trimmed and dried off, or patted dry, I line it up. I rub it down with a little olive oil. And what this does for me is it allows the seasoning to stick. You can do both sides, but I'm only going to season one side today. I use this is a product I buy at a grocery store. It's called Spadell Ranch seafood seasoning, but I've made my own. It's just easier to and probably a little bit more expensive, but time is money too. It's basically salt, brown sugar, pepper, and garlic. So that's what we're gonna apply to our little bit of hickory in there too. And then again, because you can't overlook aesthetics, there is some flavor profile addition here too. But we're gonna put a slice of lemon on each fillet. Okay, same with the vacuum seal. You can use 1 bag piece. We're going to use 2 per bag. So we're loading up the fillets. No special. I mean, there's nothing special here. We're just going to put them in, position everything, dump a little olive oil in there, just because I like olive oil. It also helps it cook a little bit more even too. I've read a couple of blogs that say they don't recommend a vacuum sealer for salmon because it's so fragile, and it's never come apart on me. So I just do what I do, and it works out. Okay, we got them all sealed up. We're gonna drop them in the sous vide. And remember, just make sure everything gets under the water. Again, this is at 130 degrees. We're searching for medium rare, maybe even a little closer to medium on these steaks. This is going to cook for at least 30 minutes. The beauty of the sous vide is, if you leave it in for an hour, you got, get called away on an errand, dog gets out of the house, whatever. It's not going to ruin your meat as long as you don't, salmon particularly, as long as you don't cook it for a day and a half. I've done some briskets for 2 and 3 days just to see how it came out, and I was actually surprised. But there comes a point where days from now it will turn into meat jello, and that's just kind of disgusting. So we don't go there. So this is going to cook for 30 minutes. At the 15-minute mark, we're going to drop the broccoli in here and go from there. We'll see you back in a minute. Put the broccoli in the sous vide. Got the sous vide right at 180. This is a 13-minute cook time for the broccoli. I put the plate on it to weight it down. You can use a rack if you have it. If you're like really into sous vide, you're probably not watching this video anyways. But 180-degree water is hot, so be careful. Put it in. Shut the lid. 13 minutes. With this, with the salmon, we're actually going to have Sauvignon Blanc. I'm not a sommelier, but I do know what I like, and I like kind of a dry white wine, but not bitter, with my salmon. So with my steaks, I like a big, blow up in your mouth Cabernet Sauvignon. But for this one, we chose, it's a cheap Sauvignon Blanc, like $8 a bottle. And I discovered this by accident. We had salmon one night, and my wife filled my glass with what is her wine, not the wine I was drinking, and it was amazing. So that's what we're gonna have with this salmon today. So cheap white wine, wild caught salmon, broccoli and rice. Okay, we're about to drop the salmon into the frying pan. I got a cast iron skillet for the purists out there, because nothing's better than cast iron. We're going to use a little bit more of the extra virgin olive oil. We're going to let that heat up until just about the time it starts to smoke. Medium heat today. Then we're going to drop our fillets in there just to crisp up the skin. Again, this step is optional. We're doing it because we might want to eat the skin, but you don't have to do this. You can plate the salmon right from the sous vide if you wanted to. I love that sound. Oh, you can smell that onion soup mix. Just fluff it up real good. Again, this is Instapot, so if you're burning stuff in an Instapot, you're probably doing it wrong. All right, so it's time for us to plate some food. All right, and there you have it. Sous vide salmon, sous vide broccoli, Instapot rice. Thanks, have a great day. If you enjoy the show, go ahead and hit like, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.